rejects wokeism and Trump's 2024 policies. This is The Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Wass. The Illinois semi-automatic gun ban and mandatory registration went into effect on January 1st, 2024. The big question is how many people will comply. Now, the fact that the Illinois state government is requiring its citizens to incriminate themselves by reporting their newly illegal firearms to the state police is a violation of the Fifth Amendment. Acting in similar fashion to New York State, Illinois understands that by creating a gun registry that's managed by the state police, it bypasses the gun registry protections gun owners are afforded at the national level. Now, the new law is called the Protect Illinois Communities Act, or PICA. It bans the delivery, sale, and purchase of so-called assault weapons, which impacts dozens of specific types of firearms. Now, the law also bans specific attachments, extended magazines, and rapid-firing devices, which is a clear violation of the Second Amendment. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to stay the law when it came before the court earlier this year. Under the provisions of the bill, gun owners were required to submit an endorsement affidavit through their FOID card by January 1st, and firearm retailers were required to sell or return their current stock. Compliance will likely be seen by most FFLs, but the question is how many private citizens will actually submit to the state police their list of newly restricted firearms. Our founding fathers never intended for the government to know who had guns and where they're located. This new law in Illinois violates the very premise of the Second Amendment. Those responsible for writing it know it, but it will hang around for a long time while it winds its way through the court system. But there is some good news. After Governor Pritzker rammed his new totalitarian rule, also known as PICA, through the legislature, in the dark of the night, before anyone could read it, he seemed a bit concerned about something. According to Illinois Review, he made it a point when confronted by the press to announce that those law enforcement officers who do not comply will be looking for other employment. Now, why would he say such a thing? Is it possible that he knows that what he's doing is unconstitutional, but he's pandering to discouraged Biden voters at a time when he may be considering a run for president? Well, here's the good news. Even though Pritzker seems to be preparing to confiscate guns from those who don't comply, the vast majority are not complying. Of the 2.4 million firearm owner identification card holders, only 2.17% have even entertained Pritzker's new law. You want some even better news? More than 74 of the 102 elected Illinois sheriffs said they refused to enforce the unconstitutional law. So it looks like Illinoisans are reminding Pritzker who he works for. We're going to talk about this and many other things with, also known as the online instigator, John Chiara. Yeah. And he's pretty much an okay guy, Anthony Diso. All right.
Pretty much.
All right.
So I went from warned about to pretty much.
Pretty much an okay guy.
So maybe next year I'll be warm-hearted.
Yeah. So what do you think? Pritzker, unconstitutional gun law, mandates that you turn in, you tell the government what guns you have now that are now newly unconstitutional, but only 2% of the gun owners, basically only 2% have complied, and police are not enforcing it. What do you think?
Just following Hochul's footsteps, right?
Yeah.
Ignore the Constitution. Do whatever we want.
Yeah.
When you're told you can't, well, sorry, we're going to do it anyway.
Yep.
That's going to work.
So we know who the 2% are.
Who?
Liberals.
Liberals. Yeah.
Stop.
There are some.
There's liberal gun owners. I guarantee you there are ones that ran right up. I got it, man. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's my yeah. I have illegal guns. Please put me on your registry.
Yeah, put me on the list.
I don't know. That's just Hochul, same thing. She's trying the same thing with the ammo registration
I was
stuff.
making the point about the ammo to somebody the other day, and they just weren't getting it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you need food and you go to buy food and they make you fill out questionnaires to make sure that you're okay to buy the food, is that just, why would that be okay? If you need ammunition to protect yourself and the 1 in a million chances that you're going to have to, why would they want to limit your ability to do that? Again, like this law, how many of the legal gun owners are shooting people in Illinois?
0.
Yeah. Right. No, the legal ones aren't. Right.
Let's punish them.
Yeah. Well, and then
That's the whole concept.
funny thing is they blame surrounding states for the guns that come in and the bad guys in Illinois kill people with. So it's the other state's fault.
But still, what does that have to do with me and you?
Yeah, exactly. I know.
They don't trust you,
I know.
even though you're mostly a nice guy.
He's mostly an okay guy.
See, it went mostly to okay.
I don't know. I just thought that, I mean, it's what's happening with gun laws right now is just crazy because we're getting a ton of stuff coming down. These governors are just creating these gun laws out of thin air and violating, everybody's rights with them. And then we know that they're going to go through the court system. It's going to take a while. But the good news is they're getting defeated. They're getting shot down by judges. So, but we still have to deal with them because they do the appeals process, and it takes forever.
Well, it's almost like they want to aggravate people to the point of acting a certain way so they can say, see, look at those gun owners. They're all acting like crazy people. I just because you're passing laws that are taking away our rights, and we're just commenting on that. Nobody would shoot anybody. That's the thing.
Right.
Well, probably nobody would shoot anybody. Plus, it's an election year, right? So they're trying to aggravate people and polarize people, I would assume, but I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, I would think that almost like the abortion case, the abortion situation, how Republicans are trying to get on board more with accepting abortion certain term or whatever, because they understand that being on the right side of abortion is not good for votes. Apparently, I don't know how we got to that place, but in the same way, you would think that the Democrats would start trying to seem reasonable with gun laws, because it's actually written in our Bill of Rights, and it's a founding principle of how our country was founded. You would think that they kind of at least appear to be a little more Second Amendment friendly, but they don't.
Well, this is because, people like Trump are attacking our democracy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not attacking the democracy like the Constitution, which is what our whole republic is based on. They just disregard that at will because they know better. It's
They don't even call it a
superiority nonsense.
And they don't even call it a republic. They want desperately for people to think that it's a democracy.
It's everywhere. I point that out to people all the time.
And people literally don't know. There are people who don't understand what's going on. What are you guys doing?
He's in your shot.
Anthony wants me to be closer.
He was in my shot.
Trying to get him away from your shot.
I'm like, what is going on?
Like a clown show over here.
Just set these cameras up.
I got to get that hook.
But yeah, they want people to think it's a democracy because then that way majority rules, and anytime you have majority rules, it never works out well.
Well, they think they're part of the moral majority. That's why. And the intelligentsia majority. They think they're the smartest, the most moral people there are. Yeah, every argument that they make in that direction falls flat on its face as soon as you bring up any kind of details. Just pick a topic. Doesn't matter what the topic is.
There was a libtard the other day on Instagram that said, "We live in a democracy republic." I go, what the hell are you talking about? This doesn't even make sense. He was going with it too. I go, all right. I said, I'm going to let you go. I can't.
I'm good.
Okay, you're just too stupid for me.
You're just too stupid for me. Oh, my God. All right. So I want to get to our sponsor here, which is pretty important. These guys, CaliKey. It's this device. It removes your AR from the definition of assault weapon. And did you know that when so-called assault weapon ban lists are created, they exclude manually operated like bolt action rifles. So just by dropping this CaliKey into your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG, you will have a bolt action rifle that falls outside the definition of assault weapon. So you don't need to do anything else. Give the CaliKey a look, because with it, you could retain all your rifle's features, avoid registration complications, revive your black rifle sales if you're an FFL, regain the ability to do private party transfers, legally transport across hostile jurisdictions, hunt with your AR in areas like Pennsylvania, and enhance long-range precision and quieter suppressed shooting. The CaliKey has state-specific expert attorney opinions on its website and supports grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. CaliKey's mission to empower customers and claw back our civil liberties. So make sure you check this out especially if you live in one of the blue states. Go to CaliKey.com. Use the discount code LOADED. CaliKey.com. Use the discount code LOADED. Okay, so I wanted to do something a little different. I think it's time, though, for a Woke Patrol.
Woke Patrol.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
So I want to do something a little different here, take Woke Patrol in a different direction today and talk about a country who actually condemns it, condemns woke. And it's
Argentina?
It's Hungary. And there was this Dr. Miklos Xantho wrote an article here. It says this country knows how to stop the woke mind virus. We hear a lot about Hungary these days. To be fair, Prime Minister Viktor Orban does upset the delicate sensibilities of the progressive liberals. It's only natural then for Americans to wonder about this distant land that has become a prickling thorn in the side of the globalist left. An age of discovery in reverse has started as intellectuals from Tucker Carlson through Jordan Peterson, we talked about him earlier today, Michael Knowles, explore for themselves the Hungarian conservative landscape in search of lessons to learn about politics and winning at the polls. Most recently, Dr. Shea Bradley Farrell published a book called Last Warning to the West, Hungary's Triumph Over Communism and the Woke Agenda, which takes a deep dive into Hungary's history. So they're talking a lot about taking their borders seriously and controlling them effectively, respecting religious roots, and guarding their state sovereignty and constitutional traditions. And the family is the cornerstone of their society, they say. Now, between the 15th and 18th centuries, Hungary guarded Christendom. Is that what they call it? Christendom? I don't know. I would call it Christianity. But anyway, you're looking at me like I'm cross-eyed, right? Anyway, between the 15th and 18th centuries, Hungary guarded Christendom against the Islamist menace. Stance is often misrepresented by the progressive left. You know, before we even got on camera here, we were talking about that. They say we do not want it to become encased in an intolerant totalitarian ideology and isolated from the world. The progressives rejoice at the prospect of a new Cold War because they hope to impose the most extreme form of their ideology through fear and isolation. Wokeness may have started with weirdos watching CNN all day, drinking soy lattes and contemplating changing their gender to pink flamingo, but by now it's become a monstrous cult with an explicit form of child sacrifice. It's a very obvious form of Marxism. The church is The church of woke is godless and rootless, this article says. It attacks historical and cultural traditions, seeks to dismantle state sovereignty, undermines our Judeo-Christian ethics and national identity, subverts the family, and brainwashes children. Wokeness ticks every Marxist box. So basically what they're talking about is Hungary doesn't even deal with it. They don't want anything to do with it. But it seems like they're about the only country.
No. Obviously. I mean, we're full of wokeness here.
Yeah. They say the woke man has no God, no homeland. He doesn't even know if he's a boy or a girl, and has no moral compass.
Sounds like the left.
Yeah.
Well, they've actually replaced religion with whatever they think is the overlying, again, moral superiority viewpoint. And that's trying to find John McWhorter's book here.
Well, this article, while you're looking for that, this article also says wokeness dissolves the primary elements of a person's identity, leaving a lonely, emotionally, and intellectually empty shell that becomes easy prey for the worst totalitarian ideologies. And we talked about that before. It's like if you can make these people weak and vulnerable, and like we talked about the testosterone levels. Remember, a couple shows back. Mm-hmm. And if you can reduce the testosterone levels in men, especially military-aged men, they're going to be easy to manipulate. Look at the men we got in this country today. Some of the young men, they're pathetic. That's
living in their basement, moving to Boston.
Moving to Boston. They go on to say Hungary is the last place, certainly in Europe, where people can speak their minds. Country still led by elected politicians, not ruled by bureaucratic deep state. And sorry to say, it's almost looking like we've
been there.
Yeah, we've been there for a while. The rest of the continent has sunk into a swamp of harmful self-deception and tragic lies. Obviously, Hungary alone cannot pull our civilization out of the neoliberal global order's swamp of despair. The key is an international alliance of national forces that should form the basis of the right's resilience. So they're talking about getting as many countries together on board to kind of defy wokeism, I guess. What are your thoughts?
Hopefully. I mean, I think Argentina is probably in line for that, right? With their big turnover down there, getting rid of all kinds of, just throwing stuff out. So this doesn't work, we're getting rid of it. That's what has to happen. I think house cleaning has to happen in a lot of these places. But that's a hard thing to do because you got generations of kids, generations of people that have been brainwashed to think, well, it's like even the Israeli-Palestine thing. You got generations of people that are conditioned to think a certain way. How are you going to talk them out of that? Without force, it sucks.
Yeah, I guess one way is to help have them feel the pain. And even then, some people don't care. I mean, like with gun control, anti-gun people can watch their friends getting killed because they're in a gun-free zone and they can't carry a gun to protect themselves, yet they still cheer for more gun control.
Upside down.
It's upside down. This article goes on to say the cooperation of people of goodwill and common sense from all over the world, but especially in America, because the U.S. is the undisputed champion of the West. If there is unrest brewing there, the real America we all know and love is best positioned to defeat it. Okay, so I guess we still are best positioned to defeat it, but we just got to get everybody on board. So how do we do that?
Get rid of the media.
The media is a big part of the problem, yeah.
I don't know how you get rid of the media, though.
Clean slate.
Trump, if anybody did anything, Trump did. By labeling them fake news.
The good thing now is there's all kinds of alternative media that's everywhere. I mean, again, and this is the argument I have with people, you have a discussion about something and they post articles from these mainline left-wing sources thinking they're proving something. And my position always is, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
We've all seen that. It's everywhere. But there's a whole bunch of other information over here that you're just ignoring as if it doesn't exist. And that is building and building and building behind the scenes, I think. And I mean, one hope is that at least hopefully by the time the election comes around here, that some of these people like I say, middle America and stuff. These people are fed up. You know, Biden's losing support with Hispanics and young people and stuff. Hopefully it's just enough to tip the scales where if we could get 4 years of kind of like, whoa, let's see what's going on here, you know what I mean? As opposed to like headlong trans issues, climate issues, all this other crap that's just everybody making everybody else guilty for everything that they can't do anything about. And
Yeah.
I don't care about when I wake up in the morning. You know, who wakes up in the morning worrying about that stuff? It's
Just
stupid.
them.
The whole climate thing. We've been sold this bill of goods since I was
The
born.
60s.
Since the 60s. That was even
And they're
before I was
wrong
born.
every single time. That they have no credibility. The predictors have no credibility.
But there's always a group of idiots that believes it.
You got your flat earthers out there too.
Greta.
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 Greta should go to China and tell them, you should stop.
Yeah, she'll
I'm
disappear
outraged.
real quick.
And the way they can market abortion as a good thing is really interesting to me. How the left has been able to literally market it as something that's good. You're killing babies, but yet they found a way to market it as good. Women's rights.
Well, see, now that's one of the dichotomies that's happening. Because one of my arguments with people all the time about climate issues are you're ignoring all these millions and billions of people that have nothing. And you're saying you're not going to be able to have anything
Right.
because we have to go green and put up a windmill. But when it
gonna
comes
freeze to death.
right? But when it comes to abortion rights, then it's all about the existing person's right to do whatever they want to do. But over here, screw those people. In 80 years, they're going to be worried about this and that. And I'm like, what about the guy that's trying to put food on the table for his kid and can't? And the kid can't go to the hospital because there is no hospital because there's no energy, there's no
Right.
electricity, there's no refrigeration, there's no medications, there's no anything. It's just it's a double standard. Again, that I think people have a problem. They make things personal when they should be looking at the big picture, and when they should be looking at the big picture, they make it personal, and they have no connection between those two things. So you can't even argue. It's hard to argue with that.
That's how they vote today too, on their hurt feelings and
Yeah.
what benefits them only.
Yeah.
Or what benefits somebody 80 years from now? Well, you know. Well, you know what?
I saw
Look at this Atlantic article. Okay.
I saw some clip, the out on the street kind of clips where they interview people, and it was something about, who are you going to vote for, Trump or Biden? And of course, this was a lefty, and hate Trump, definitely going to vote for Biden. And then they were asked just a couple basic questions about Biden policies, and they're clueless, no idea about it.
It's all brainwashing leftist garbage that they've been fed. Trump's bad and Biden's the bomb. But Biden's the worst president in history.
Oh, he absolutely is. Yeah.
And these idiots still can't
Oh,
see it.
no. They post articles from the Atlantic and the Guardian saying, he's done this and he's done that. And I'm like,
He's done nothing.
as a reference, some hippie girl that I know today, right, posted F Trump and Happy New Year. And every comment was like, I think you got that backwards, honey. All her friends were saying,
Well,
I
that's like
think you got that
those
backwards.
dirtbags Green Day changed the lyrics to their thing on New Year's Eve.
Right.
At Rockin' Eve to,
What was it?
I can't remember what they say.
I don't know.
It was something about Trump. They put Trump in there. In one of the American Idiot song, they changed the lyrics. But it's like,
Why would you need to do that? Right.
because they're dirtbags, number one. They're has-beens, and they're trying to make a comeback. They haven't done anything. No one really cares about Green Day. Right. So Billy Joel, who talks like a guy from like another country, but he's actually born in like the United States. If you listen to him talk,
he talks-
has a weird accent. But
Yeah.
dude, you're from like Nebraska.
I thought those guys, when they first came out, were kind of cool, and I kind of liked it.
They're political motivated.
They're
like
left
Reagan.
wing. Yeah,
That's the problem.
they're awful. They're awful. I want to get to this next thing. Project Veritas has done it again. In this next clip, you'll see they sent their hidden camera into a Planned Parenthood and revealed what the left continuously lies about. The truth is revealed when this Planned Parenthood worker admits that she's complicit in facilitating the illegal abortion surgery on minors as young as 13 years old without the parents' consent. Matter of fact, she explains how Planned Parenthood takes measures to prevent parents from knowing what's happening to their children. Should these Planned Parenthood workers be locked up? That's the question. You decide. Watch this.
parents don't know yet.
Yeah, so we don't do them here, but we don't do them in Missouri. It's illegal. But we do have, I can give you a packet of the 2 locations that do it in Kansas. They have people that'll come pick them up. They have people that pay for the whole thing. Yes, I would call them and tell them what the situation is. They're going to help you with that.
All within Planned Parenthood?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if the school agrees or not. We say that she was at the doctor, and we can cut off our letterhead so it doesn't even say where she was. Trust me, this is not our first rodeo. They're going to know exactly how to handle that. I would call them.
Okay, so 13-year-olds can go across state lines.
Absolutely.
Planned Parenthood helps them do that, and then pays for the whole thing.
I won't say it pays for the whole thing,
Oh.
but they will work for you. Sometimes they do end up paying for it. Yeah, it's illegal in Missouri.
How many times do you do this a year?
What, like abortion?
Girls coming out of the state, yes.
Oh, every day.
We get, yeah.
Every day. Every day. Mm-hmm. We set up hotels for them. We set up every day.
So this is so great because she's 13.
Yeah.
She's so young.
And she's scared, and that's what we're here for.
And her parents do not, they're like so conservative, and I cannot let them know.
And they won't. If she's in Planned Parenthood, we consider you adult. You can make the decision, then we got you.
Okay. And then can she come in here for follow-up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she doesn't have to go back there for follow-up. Once she's done with them, she can come back here.
And what about like contraceptives?
We'll take care of all of that.
All without any consent?
Yeah, we never tell her parents anything. She's an adult in our clinic.
Never tell the parents anything.
13.
And they're giving her contraceptives. 13 years
If they had
old.
done that before, she wouldn't be going across state lines to get an abortion.
Right, but is that a good thing? I mean, are you encouraging?
That's all messed up.
Are you encouraging a 13-year-old to go have sex by giving contraceptives? I mean, it's so backwards. The left has it so wrong.
Well, plus, a couple of weeks ago, Jordan Peterson had a woman doctor on, and she wrote the book, This Is Your Brain, This Is Your Body on Birth Control, and about how screwed up it is for your body to be on birth control from that age. Totally.
Doesn't it affect, we talked about testosterone levels
All
and
kinds of
stuff?
hormone levels. It screws it up and permanently screws them up. You know what I mean? Because at that age, your body's still forming, and it's 13 years old. We consider them an adult. Really?
And we
Where
don't-
else in the world is that true?
And they make sure the parents don't know anything. That's the thing that would really piss me off. I mean, I'd be down there raising hell if I ever found out that they were keeping stuff from me as a parent. I don't understand.
See, if you found out that your 13-year-old son was pregnant and they were sending him across state
My
lines,
13-year-old son.
They didn't tell you about the gender reassignment surgery before that.
Oh, right.
When he was 12, they didn't tell you about that.
That's awful because I bet you they do that too. That's next down the line.
That's terrible.
Your 13-year-old kid's gonna go into Planned Parenthood, go in a boy and come out a girl like he goes through the freaking car wash.
God. Clean your tires, sir.
We got so much stuff here that we didn't
is
get
the
to in the
gender
first
wash.
half, but we're getting the we got to go to break real quick. Just real quick, stick around. We're going to talk about Chocolate City. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about a lot of craziness.
Chocolate City.
We'll see it right back here in just a minute.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
The media and politicians create terms like gun violence and ghost gun and assault weapon to change the narrative around guns in America. The entire anti-gun fear campaign is built on the reactive emotions of people who don't know any better. And the media seeks their support for gun restrictions. In Good Gun, Bad Guy, I give you the behind-the-scenes look into the mind of the anti-gun radical, because before we can defeat them, we need to understand their tactics. Good Gun, Bad Guy 2 exposes the media strategies used to create a perpetual state of irrational gun fear and hatred toward gun owners. Good Gun, Bad Guy 3 reveals the political motives behind the gun grab, why the left wants an unarmed population, and what we can do to thwart their efforts. The anti-Second Amendment radicals started this evil game. Good Gun, Bad Guy is the rule book they hoped you would never see. Go to goodgunbadguy.com to get your copy or purchase the entire series.
so typical of the political left to accuse other people of what they're doing, right? So in this next clip, you'll see left-wing professors at MIT being questioned about racist policies they allow on campus. And in this particular case, they're questioned about a thing called Chocolate City, where white students are not allowed. Watch these racists do everything they can to avoid answering the questions and avoid any responsibility for their racist policies.
Been okay for whites and blacks to segregate themselves because they felt more like the people they're with.
I oppose segregation.
Okay, well, I do too, but it's happening on your campus. Dr. Cornbooth, I'm sorry. We have on your campus something called Chocolate City, where black only dorms, where whites are excluded. Is it okay also for whites to set up a white-only dorm where minorities are excluded?
You know, actually at MIT, our students affiliate voluntarily with whichever dorm they want to. It's not exclusionary. It's actually positive selection by students which dormitory they want to live in.
So it's okay for blacks to not make whites feel included. Is it okay for whites not to let blacks feel included on your campus? We're talking about segregation, and it's obviously happening on your campuses.
You know, I think it's really important to say that there's a distinction between sending an exclusionary message and looking to other students for common experiences and support.
Okay, and what you're saying is very simply, in 1960s, it would have been okay for whites and blacks to segregate themselves because they felt more like the people they're with.
I oppose segregation.
Are these libs disgusting or what? I wish we could deport them.
I wish I could punch her in the face.
Send them to Hungary.
I wish I could punch her.
Like, I mean, do they actually believe the garbage that's coming out of their mouth?
Yeah, it's so racist.
So if we went to college and we said, we just want white people living here.
Yeah, well, white-only dorm.
How's that going to go? It's not going to go.
No, of course
But
not.
it's okay for black people to do whatever they want.
It's actually not. I don't even think black people would want to do that if it weren't for white liberals encouraging it.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Those are the ones. The white liberals are the ones that are leading all of this stuff. They're all worried about those people. Just not worried about you.
They are so against traditional American values and conservatism that they are willing to encourage and manipulate and even brainwash black people into believing that they're somehow oppressed in this country in 2024, and they should be able to start a new round of racism by having their own dorms and their own this and their own that. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that black people even go along with it. But the idea that white liberals are perpetuating this stuff is absolutely sickening to me.
It's okay, though, in their mind, because it's fixing what was wrong. Now you have the choice. Before you didn't have the choice, and that was wrong. Now you have the choice. That makes it right.
We were doing so good with respect to racial unity. We were doing so good until
Obama came along.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden's actually worse than Obama.
Yeah.
Our country is actually a disgusting mess with that senile moron running the helm.
God.
It's just too bad because, again, like we say, we don't know anybody that feels that way. I posted a video yesterday about a Muslim man who went to college, and he said as a child he had told his mother that he was never going to judge people except on his own personal experience with them. He wasn't going to put them into a group and judge people. So he went to college. He said he had Jewish people inviting him to Shabbat dinner. He had Christians inviting him to go to church with him and different people. And he says, and he went to all these things, and he says, these people are just nice people. You know what I mean? We don't have to have these differences. You don't have to segregate people and make them into groups to make them feel more inclusive, because it's not making it. It's the opposite of inclusive. And that's what the melting pot was supposed to be. That was the whole idea, even though we weren't really that good about it in this country in the first 150 years or whatever. But, I mean, to say that things are worse now than they were 15 years ago, it's just insanity. And it's sad.
Oh, you mean to say that racism, there's more racism that exists now? Right. Yeah, right, exactly.
Where? I don't see it.
Yeah.
You see it?
I'm starting to see it on the left, though. That's where I'm seeing it.
Got to create a problem, you know.
it's just
separation. They want everybody divided. It helps them. If we're unified, the government's scared. If we're all separated, then there's nothing that's going to affect the government.
We need to be unified over issues. The problem with these people is, again, the Eleanor Roosevelt quote, people with small minds talk about people. It's all about people. It's all Trump's fault. It's all this. It's all the Republicans' fault. It's all the conservatives' fault. But let's talk about the issues and figure out what people actually want in their lives, you know? That's how the government is supposed to serve the people. It's not supposed to serve the people by making enemies of different groups that they decide who's going to be in the group. I mean, you know, you say the wrong thing and if you said something wrong 30 years ago, you're canceled because, you're the wrong kind of person. What a moral superiority ball of crap.
I just hope that, you know, your average Democrat voter starts to wake up.
I think some of them are. I think they see how pathetic Joe is and his supporters are.
Who would want to be part of that? I just don't understand what the attraction. Well, I guess I do see the attraction. They're able to attract a certain element of people who just want to be part of that popular table, who don't want to take responsibility for themselves, and so those people will definitely gravitate toward the Democrats. And they don't have to do anything.
Right. Agree. They don't have to do anything, and then they're on the right side, and you're on the wrong side because you actually go out and do whatever you do to make your life whatever it is. You know, the way normal people have lived forever and ever and ever.
Well, I would say, you know, you have the leftists who will gravitate toward the Democrat Party because they don't want to take responsibility for themselves. They'd much rather give up their freedom for government protection and welfare and all sorts of whatever. But on the other side of the spectrum, you got conservatives who are willing to give up their perceived safety for freedom. We'll take the safety. We'll take that into our own hands, to our own responsibility. We'll take our finances into our own hands. We'll take, you know, building our lives and raising our families. That's my responsibility. We'll take that in our own hands. Government, stay the hell out of the way. And that's basically what conservatives want. Just leave me alone.
I saw a video today of the shooting in Albany.
Yeah, right after New Year's,
outside, right on New Year's on Lark Street. And Lark Street used to be a very popular street. People used to go walk down. It's a ghost town now. There was a shooting right on the corner there. A guy caught it on camera with audio. And there's people commenting, and one guy's like, how can that happen in New York with all the gun restrictions? I go, hey, stupid. Criminals don't follow gun laws.
Yeah, it's the most.
And they're like, well, why do they keep voting for these people? I said, because people are selfish and they want to vote for their free stuff. Because if a Republican was governor, they wouldn't have free stuff. They'd have to go to work. So what are you going to vote for? If you're a dirtbag living off the system, are you going to vote for the guy that's going to take it away? Absolutely not.
Of course, right.
So these people just you can't say this enough to these dummies for them to understand what goes on in New York.
Yeah.
Hochul's a moron, and she has no care for normal citizens.
She doesn't care.
She protects the criminals.
She's probably getting a lot of money for when she leaves office. She's probably going to be set. Yeah. Her family's going to be set for generations because of the decisions she's making now.
Yeah. She's not smart enough to pull strings.
I don't think she is smart enough. I don't say that. Her? Well, I don't say that just to insult her. I really don't.
She's not smart.
I don't think she's that bright.
No.
Exactly. I really just don't think she's that bright. I think Cuomo was smarter. He was almost as bad, but I thought now we always joke around. Geez, we'd love to have Cuomo back.
Yeah, I'll take Nipple Ring Boy back.
Nipple Ring. President Trump lays out some of the important things he will do when he becomes president again in 2024. Let's watch this video and then we'll discuss these things.
My first day back in the White House, I will terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration and begin the largest deportation operation in American history. And I will also use Title 42 to end the child trafficking crisis by returning all trafficked children to their families in their home countries, and that will be done immediately. They want to go home. They want to go home. Horrible what they've done to children. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the heads of our children. and I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or mask mandate. No mandates. I will immediately close the Federal Department of Education, and we will move everything back to the states where they can individualize education and do it with love for our children.
So let me just run through the few things and get your guys' opinion on each thing quick. Terminate Biden's open border policy. I mean, this is no brainer.
Absolutely. Is there a policy?
Yeah, right.
Does it just say open?
Here's the one thing that I didn't know he would ever say, and I'm glad he did because it might start to deter people from coming over. Number 2 was the largest deportation operation. What are your thoughts on deportation?
It's going to take a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, but all these cities that were sanctuary cities, they're all complaining that they can't take all these people.
Yeah.
They got to go somewhere. Where are they going to go?
How do you do a deportation operation? I'm not sure how that would work.
Interesting to watch all that.
I'd love to see it. Have those buses filled back up and send them right back over the border.
First of all, weed out all the people that aren't even from Mexico or wherever, people from all over the world that have come through that, and now that big caravan's coming, right?
Yeah,
When's that going to hit?
10 or 15,000 people.
Well, Trump knows that he's got to do it once he gets in office, because otherwise the Democrats are going to manipulating those people too and getting them to vote Democrat. I mean, that they're going to get them on welfare, and so
they keep them here long enough. They're going to have to make them citizens, right? Yeah. Why would you? That
California's giving them ID so they can vote,
and giving them free health care.
Yeah, free health care.
Title 42: return trafficked children to their home countries. Basically, that's probably part of the deportation operation. Number 4 was cut federal funding to schools that promote critical race theory, political and sexual content. So schools cut off, no more money. This is the one that got the most applause. If you listen to the video, it was cut funding to schools with vaccine mandates and mask mandates. People went crazy over that because we didn't realize it, but when they did all that stuff, it was it felt like a total violation to everything it was to be American.
Horrible.
Go ahead.
Oh, it was horrible. He also said he's going to get rid of the Federal Department of Education, which they should. It's just nonsense, That's a state's right. It should not even be there.
There's going to be a lot of dumb people coming out of the blue states if you give it back to the state. Because you got schools around here, you got kids that can't even read or write or do math.
Oh, horrible graduation rates, right?
Horrible. They're just dumbing these idiots down.
To when you were in high school and you went to your graduation and half your class wasn't there? How can we even imagine that? You couldn't even think of that 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
Not even as a possibility. And now they're not even talking about it.
They don't even care. Like one of our local schools, I said, I think the graduation rate's like 30%. Like, what? What are you doing? Because they're teaching critical race theory, teaching white people that they're useless, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So how are you going to learn anything else besides what you're learning?
And just in the economy, just what's happening to the economy, the stuff that I don't think needs to happen, but which brings me actually to this triggered. Because society's lost its mind, no one's calling out the insanity. Actually, many people are celebrating it. We at the Loaded Mic thought it was time to help the lunatics among us recognize just how emotionally reactive and ridiculous they are, in the hopes of encouraging them to stay in the basement if they can't conduct themselves like normal human beings. So we created a new segment called So here is a perfect example of delusion. In this next clip, Karen is outraged at the prices of gas and food, but blames it on, ready for this? Christians.
You Catholic fool.
$98 to fill up the tank today. $98. $98. I have to decide between buying gas or buying food. This is the work of the religious right.
And of course, it's a liberal blaming others for what they voted for.
Exactly. She makes a great point. It's liberals blaming others, the people they hate, for exactly
what the
they
hell
did.
does being Christian have to do with buying gas?
Who knows? But in her,
you know who owns most gas stations?
The Middle Eastern.
They're not Christians,
right? Exactly.
They're Muslims.
They're Muslims. Oh my God! I don't know. We got a lot of insanity. But Anthony, you had a story too. I want to get to this.
Oh man!
So you had a story you wanted to something about a settlement against go ahead. What is this one all about?
All right. So I'm going to read the headline, but I'm going to tell you what's different.
All right.
Man wins $10 million settlement against workplace that fired him for calling out sick with vaginitis. So, of course, what state do you think this is in, John? Just take a guess.
California.
Yes, good call. Good call. Newberry Park, California. Louis Bennigan, who is a woman.
He's a woman?
He is a woman.
He's really a guy pretending to be a woman.
Right. So on his application, she said that she's a male.
You're being much too nice to them. I can't even call him a she, but go ahead.
So he was out, or Shim was out for a while with vaginitis.
Vaginitis.
And they fired her because she, on her application, she said she was a male, and people don't, the managers don't know. So they fired her because she called out with vaginitis. But on an application, everyone in the office and the bank thought that this person was a man.
Well, he is.
But he's a woman. He has a vaginitis. It's a female who is acting as a male, but she still has her parts.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
No. So he went through, I guess he went through a week-long civil suit and won $10 million.
So it's really a woman.
It's a woman acting as a dude.
Okay.
So here's my problem with this. We need to stop letting these people put down whatever they want. You can act however you want,
right,
but there needs to be a law to where when you're going to a job, if you're acting like a dude, but you have a vagina, you are a woman. You are a woman.
So she was pretending to be a he.
Right. His name,
and
she changed her name to Lewis. She's not a male at all.
She got vaginitis
and called out with it.
Called out, and they said, "Wait a minute, you're a guy. You can't have that."
Exactly.
Lewis.
So when it's convenient for her to be a man, she was. But when it was convenient for her to be a woman, she chose that route.
Right.
Unbelievable.
So she won $10 million because the company didn't know that she was a female because she checked mailbox as being a male when she did her application, which she should have been fired for because you're not a male.
Oh God!
You were born a female.
This is all so twisted
so now
and
guess
wrong.
What she's using the money for?
Surgery.
She's getting
a wiener attached.
I guess she's gonna get a wiener.
I'll get a wiener.
Oscar Mayer.
Okay, so this next topic falls right into place with what you were just talking about.
Vaginitis.
The anger that's starting to surface among the deranged transsexuals in America has reached a new height. For some reason, these delusional lunatics believe the world is against them. The truth is, no one really cares what they do as long as they don't push their insanity on everybody else. But of course, they can't just go about their lives and leave everyone alone. They have to be the center of attention and make sure that the world sees them as victims when they are really the aggressors. Apparently, this next weirdo is so angry that he wants to start stabbing those people he has determined to be so-called transphobes. Isn't it interesting how they create a delusional world of twisted mental disorder and then get angry when normal people refuse to participate in their fantasy? While watching this video, ask yourself if this guy should be arrested for inciting violence.
Or anything. Can we just start stabbing transphobes at this point? Like, we have such a big problem of transphobic people being fucking idiots and not getting their shit kicked in. Can we just start kicking their shit in? It would be so much easier for everyone. The entire world would be so much better if we could just stab a transphobe. Say something transphobic, you get stabbed. The world would be beautiful.
Buddy, your 5 o'clock shadow's showing.
Can you believe, though, the delusion? I mean,
that's all that matters in his world, I guess, right?
Kick
Nothing
his
else
own.
matters.
He couldn't kick his own ass.
He couldn't kick his own ass. Look at him. He's got a
Nice-
5 o'clock shadow. He's
nice
got little
glasses.
braids. Smack the soul out of you. But now, if we went on, listen, if we went on, you junk, and said, we want to stab trans, we want to stab
Anybody,
them.
any doesn't matter. Yeah.
Stab Lewis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Need to talk to you.
Just the arrogance of that little.
The world would be a perfect place if we could just
Yeah, if we could just start
a
stab people we
transphobe.
disagree with. Right.
Oh,
That's
boy.
that
That's
would
the
make the world.
mentality. How do you argue with that?
You can't. If
You
that's
get a
what
medication, you lock them up.
they should be locked up.
They should not be roaming around.
Well, I mean, seriously, think about it. First of all, you got a guy who thinks it's a girl. That's a problem in itself that
Mental
we're not,
health,
that we're
right.
not dealing with. Then, not only on top of that, he has such a hatred for people who think otherwise, differently than him, that right there is another issue, that just the anger and the hatred. Then the fact that he's already threatening to kill people, and he's putting it on social media.
So he's telling other trans people that they should stab transphobic people.
Why is this guy not in a mental institution of some sort?
Because
Biden's America.
It is.
It's unbelievable.
And people will call us transphobic, gay people haters, but that's not the truth. It's like, we don't care what you do.
Don't really care if they stab us.
Well, I care if you're going to stab me, but I don't care what you do. But
Exactly.
stop pushing it on people.
Oh man,
I try to explain this to people. It's like no one's transphobic. We're just tired of it. Yeah. Like we got them. You got them running around the White House with their boobs hanging out. Yeah. What in Biden and Jill's brain thought that was okay?
it's such a spit in the face to our founding fathers, and it's so unfair to real Americans, people who want to live by traditional American values.
Do they need to vote that bad? Because what are they? 3% of the population, maybe 1.5%.
Yeah, really. Do they need to?
So you have them running around the lawn of the White House with their man boobs hanging out? Really?
I know that
Is
was
that where
crazy.
we're at, John? Is that where we're at?
It would appear so.
But that person got banned from the White House.
Now, as far as this radical, angry, violent tranny that we just saw on that clip, we won't suggest here on Loaded Mic, we don't suggest stabbing anybody, including this nut job. But we do have the opportunity to give him a knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich.
So,
hopefully before he pulls out his knife.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't think he would. Do you think that
the
guy
world
would
be
have
such a better place, be a beautiful place?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, I got to get to this real quick. Over 200 vets, active duty forces vow to hold the military leaders accountable for COVID vaccine mandates. More than 200 military veterans, active duty members, former officials, and military spouses released an open letter on January 1st in which they vowed to do everything in their power to hold senior military leaders responsible for forcing the COVID-19 vaccine mandates on the troops. While implementing the COVID vaccine, military leaders broke the law, trampled constitutional rights, denied informed consent, permitted unwilling medical experimentation, and suppressed the free exercise of religion. Service members and families were significantly harmed by these actions. Their suffering continues to be felt financially, emotionally, and physically. Some service members became part of our ever-growing veteran homeless population. Some developed debilitating vaccine injuries, and some even lost their lives. In an apparent attempt to avoid accountability, military leaders are continuing to ignore the communications and regarding these injuries and laws that were broken. What do you guys think? Should there be heavy lawsuits? Should there be penalties and punishment?
Oh, yeah.
For the people who implemented this stuff?
It won't happen, but yeah, there should be.
It won't happen, right?
It won't happen.
Well, the signatories, which include candidates for U.S. Congress and other political offices, said there were thousands within their network who plan to run for Congress and seek appointments to executive offices. They pledged that those who win office would remove retirement pay for military leaders who were criminally complicit. And that those who gain the authority to do so would recall military leaders from retirement and convene court-martials for the crimes they committed. Wow. It's kind of heavy. Yeah,
It'd be nice to see, but I don't see it happen. That's just like, the Biden crime family going to jail.
Yeah, that'll
Got
never
a better
happen.
chance of getting struck by lightning in a snowstorm. It's not going to happen. I don't believe it's ever going to happen. Like, Epstein's list is supposed to come out. And we say Bill Clinton and Prince somebody's on there, but what are you going to do?
And that stuff's all crap, too. I mean, the Bill Clinton thing, he was named, 50 times he was on the list. Problem is that just means that somebody mentioned him somewhere 50 times. Doesn't mean he was doing something. That whole it's all crap anyway. You know what I mean?
What about the flight log? That's not what you're talking. Is that what you're talking about? The flight log?
I don't think it's a flight log.
Well, flight law is going to tell you who's on the plane.
Who's
They
on
have
the
to.
plane,
Yeah.
right.
You can't just say person one. They have to have a name in case the plane goes down.
So at least that way we know if we can see the flight, we'll at least know who was there.
So if that's the list they're releasing and his name's on it,
I'm not
that's a different
surprised,
story.
I mean.
Well, he's a dirtbag anyway. When you look at that whole family, they're like the #1 assassins.
Oh, I know.
Anytime something comes up with boop, you're gone.
Yep.
We should do a show on that sometime.
Like
Go
Epstein.
back to Vince Foster and all this stuff and go through all these ridiculous things that have happened to people. Right?
How does Epstein, a guy who was on 24-hour watch, hang himself when he has nothing in his cell?
Yeah. And the cameras weren't
cameras
working.
are off.
And the security guys fell asleep.
Just a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's just happens all the time, guys.
Oh my God. I know. It's insanity.
Vaginitis.
All right, we got on that note. Oh God, thanks guys. Great show. And thank you for watching on Rumble. You can also find us on Simul TV, Right America Media, Ops Lens, and the Key Radio Network. You can also catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, whatever your favorite podcast app is. I'm Dan Was, and the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right.